something coming from my heart, really, to express, rather than me having a certain intention on how people should understand it or even like it. Because with art, people, it's like some people will like it and some people will not like it.
I have a popular saying where I say, from your intention is good, you don't worry about
Exactly.
you don't worry about the outcome.
No, exactly. So